The Nintendo Switch has been out for a little over a year, but has already got a reputation of being a port machine. Naturally, this has a close connection with the lack of backwards compatibility to Wii U games, but also the fact that the Wii U didn't meet hardware and software sales expectations. Still, we believe that porting over all Wii U games to the Switch is a wrong move. Don't jump the gun yet, as we all agree that remastering Mario Kart 8 with the paid expansions and a proper battle mode was an excellent move. With the exception of Kirby Star Allies and Attack on Titan 2, there are no big new games that are not ports coming to the Switch. Despite an honest opinion of the Switch having received many ports and remasters, we can't get away from the fact that some of Nintendo's greatest hits, besides Mario Kart 8 Deluxe obviously, might have been better to port or remaster. And now that we are, by all records, getting a new Smash rather than a port of Smash 4, here are our current 10 Nintendo games we want to see ported or remastered on the Switch. Of course, it would be way freaking better if the Nintendo Switch had proper virtual console that wasn't just Neo Geo games. Still, restoring the likes of the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on Wii U was a good move by Nintendo. Wind Waker HD was the result of allowing the development team of Breath of the Wild to practice HD game development, while Twilight Princess HD was just something to pass the time while we waited for Breath of the Wild to come out. On the Switch, both of these remasters would be great on the Switch, but if we had to choose one, it'd be Wind Waker HD hands down. Along with being the better of the two, it made more noticeable improvements to the cel-shaded visuals and the gameplay, like with the Swift Sail. Considering Breath of the Wild changed the Zelda formula so much, it would be interesting to go back to the way things used to be with either of these games. Is it possible we could see both of these remasters on the Switch? We'll get back to that in a little bit. There is no doubt that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was many people's introduction into the otherwise niche series of JRPGs. It came out within the Nintendo Switch's highly successful first year during a month when there were not a lot of other big games coming out, so it would make sense to assume that some people bought it out of curiosity and the need for something new to play on the Switch. As we've stated in our Game vs. Game episode, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is great, but not as great as the first Xenoblade Chronicles, one of the best JRPGs of all time. And coming out between the two was Xenoblade Chronicles X on Wii U, which wasn't as good as both, but still offered a fun and unique experience within a futuristic sci-fi setting. President of Monolith Soft, Tetsuya Takahashi, has stated himself that he would love to see X ported onto the Switch, and it would be an easier feat since it's already an HD game. The first Xenoblade would be in dire need of HD textures, but it would still be possible. Getting the wonders of Xenoblade Chronicles into the hands of more people would only be a good thing for Monolith Soft, and obviously those who would play them. This could even be part of an optional Xenoblade Chronicles collection, coming with all 3 games. There's no better way to package a remaster than as a collection. Just look at Uncharted. It's kind of crazy how much we've been talking about No More Heroes lately, since the last game came out in 2010. Regardless, Travis Touchdown is making his long overdue comeback with Travis Strikes Again on the Nintendo Switch. It's just that so much has happened since he warped into the fantastical world of indie games. We could use a refresher. The first No More Heroes received a PS3 port to line up with the release of PlayStation Move, so we already know an HD version of the game exists, which is more than can be said for No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle. So we have to ask Mr. Goichi Suda, will we be able to see what shenanigans Travis Touchdown got himself into before he strikes again? We can't imagine that remasters of the No More Heroes games would be too much of a challenge thanks to the simplistic art style, but how can you not think about the Joy-Cons in this scenario? Thanks to the PS3 version of the first game, we know it's possible to create a traditional control scheme while having the motion controls as an option. What incentive would there be to play with motion controls? You tell me. Now picture this: Super Mario Sunshine in HD at 60 frames per second. Be still my beating wallet. It's either that, or a Super Mario Galaxy HD collection. The games already look great enough, just bring that resolution up to a fantastic 1080p and voila! And in Super Mario Galaxy's case, this has already happened in China with the Nvidia Shield, along with other Wii games like Twilight Princess and Punch-Out! They have been ported fully to HD and without motion controls. Now you won't be playing Nintendo games on the Nvidia Shield anytime soon, since this is a China-only deal. But what's stopping these games from coming to the Switch everywhere else? We really don't need to say much more about why these games deserve to be ported to the Switch. Their reputation speaks for themselves. They're incredibly well designed, nostalgic, and most importantly, fun. Fans have also been begging for a sequel to Super Mario Sunshine, or at the very least, a remaster. We want to return to Isle Delfino one way or another. Maybe with Super Mario Odyssey DLC? We saw that map, Nintendo. You ain't fooling us. Somewhere, somehow, in some way, Pikmin 4 is out there. We were told so by Shiggy himself a few years ago. So while we wait for this guaranteed sequel, how about we revisit the other 3 titles surrounding little space people on an alien planet full of little handy creatures called Pikmin? If anything, the most likely scenario is only Pikmin 3 getting a Switch port, seeing as it's a Wii U title and no Wii U game is safe from the Switch. This would probably be fine. You don't really need to know the story of previous Pikmins to know what's going to happen in Pikmin 4, but just in case we do, why not give them all to us in a nicely wrapped package? Pikmin 1 and 2 were released on the GameCube and both got Wii versions that utilized the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. This would later be the starting point for Pikmin 3's control scheme until the touchscreen update. So Switch ports of these games would have both regular and motion controls, unless you want to look like an idiot on the bus. Yoshi's Woolly World took me and many others by surprise. Sure, it isn't hard, and sure, it looks very childish, but when you're playing the best successor to Yoshi's Island, who cares? Woolly World was 2D platforming goodness with an amazing art style, and it would later get a 3DS port with Yoshi's friend Poochie. Now this game deserves another chance on a portable system, only this time, a portable system in HD. The chances of seeing a Switch port of this game the same year as the new Yoshi are pretty slim, but it doesn't even need to come out before the new Yoshi. Even though both games will have similar attributes, they will ultimately be different experiences that don't need to be played in any specific order. You can take your time on this port, Nintendo. Just please, give us that woolly goodness on the Switch. We also brought this game up in our top 10 games that would sell on Nintendo Switch video, but we cannot stress enough the importance of putting the Metroid Prime trilogy, fully remastered, with HD graphics, on the Switch. Not gonna lie though, it would be some work, especially with Prime 3 and the motion-controlled puzzles, but the reward would be totally worth it. Here you have one of the greatest game trilogies ever conceived by human hands, and here you have one of the greatest game consoles ever conceived by human hands. You know where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm probably fanboying a little bit, but Nintendo will be releasing Metroid Prime 4 sooner or later, and there are a lot of people who missed out on the first 3 amazing games. Porting the trilogy to Switch would ensure they get caught up while also giving them a hell of a time with the badass intergalactic bounty hunter Samus Aran. Oh, and I can already picture this game with a revamped graphics engine. If you think these games already look good at standard def, just imagine the possibilities in HD. Whoa. Yes, we're well aware that we've talked a bit of mess about Super Mario 3D World for its linearity and focus on multiplayer. But you know what? It's still really damn good. I think the main problem with this game lies with the way it was designed. The linear structure works way better for a handheld experience than a TV one, hence why it originally began on the 3DS with Super Mario 3D Land. As much as we enjoy Odyssey, we would love to go back to 3D World to take on the insane trials presented in those bonus worlds, with or without friends. Now that Captain Toad, which uses the same engine, is coming to the Switch, this makes 3D World's Switch port all the more possible. While we agree that it isn't too special for the legendary 3D Mario genre, there is still a lot of fun to be had in 3D World. It would just be better if it was a handheld experience as well as home console one. Oh no, Commonwealth Realm. What are you doing bringing Skyward Sword into this list? Relax, my friends, and listen to reason. It's understandable why many people have quarrel with Skyward Sword, since the game was very linear, handholdy, and just bogged with motion controls in every possible scenario where motion controls could be. But if you look past that last part, Skyward Sword is an amazing game. There, I said it. Sprinkled throughout the game are magical experiences that are too good to just miss out on. Not to mention the story is ridiculously great and important for the Zelda universe. Nintendo, please, you must give us Skyward Sword in the way it was meant to be played, without these annoying motion controls. Obviously, remaking this game for the Switch would be a huge undertaking. It's not like you could just take out a few motion control puzzles here and there. You would have to go in and redesign key aspects of the game, like reducing the amount of times the imprisoned breaks out of his seal to 1 instead of 3. Putting Skyward Sword HD on the Switch would be tough, but incredibly worth it. More people and Zelda fans will be able to appreciate the game's incredible story, environments, and music. Matter of fact, to really entice gamers, Nintendo could do what they did on the GameCube and give us Part 2 of The Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition with Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, Skyward Sword HD, and Breath of the Wild. My wallet is trembling just thinking about this idea. Every Wii U game and its mother is trying to make its way towards the Nintendo Switch. All we need now are the real hits, like Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Devil's Third, Sonic Boom, and Super Mario Maker. We're not joking about the last one. Super Mario Maker was probably the best exclusive game on the Wii U, because it's the only game that made the console's gigantic gamepad have a real purpose. You make your own Mario stage using the gamepad's touch controls, and then play it on the big screen. How has this game not made it on the Switch yet? We imagine it's for a number of reasons. One of them being that there is no way to view what's on the Switch in both handheld and TV mode. Seeing as this game is also on the 3DS, however, it wouldn't be too much of a hassle to just play the stage in handheld mode, or hook it back up to the TV if you want to play it there. It's most likely that Nintendo is planning a full-on sequel to Super Mario Maker that will incorporate a new control scheme or level editor layout that pleases both those who want to use the touchscreen and those who don't. While we're at it, how about some exclusive content, like 2D Odyssey templates? How cool will it be to design your own New Donk City Festival? Or better yet, design 2D segments for Super Mario Odyssey and have them be played in that game itself. Nintendo, hire me, for real. And with that, these have been 10 Nintendo games that we believe deserve to be ported to the Nintendo Switch. Whether you like it or not, ports and remasters are here to stay, on the Switch and other consoles as well. It's a way to preserve these games for future generations without having to dust off old hardware. Although, we would just prefer Virtual Console. Are there any other games you think should have been added to the list? Sound off in the comments section below. And don't forget, if you're going to PAX East on April 5th through 8th, you should totally come to our meetup at Screenwave's booth this Saturday, April 7th at 10 a.m. for a little birthday celebration of yours truly. So please, come on over. We would love to meet you. Finally, we want to thank all our gracious patrons, including Patreon royal producer Kenyatta Ali, who makes it possible for us to do more and more of these awesome productions. If you want to contribute as well, head over to patreon.com/commonrealm. We will see you, girls and guys, in the next one.